The emergency alarm echoed through the massive halls of the Galactic Council Station. Red lights flashed as hundreds of alien representatives rushed to their seats. Admiral Tejo straightened his blue uniform and walked quickly to the center podium. His face showed worry as he looked at the crowd of different alien species filling the chamber. "Council members, we have received a distress call from the Vellani Republic," Tejo announced. His voice carried clearly through the translation devices. "Their mining colonies are under attack by the Korth hegemony. The situation is very bad." A tall, thin alien with purple skin raised one of his forearms. "How many colonies have been lost?" 12 so far, Tejo replied. "The Korth are moving fast. They destroy everything in their path. The Vellani cannot stop them alone." Worried voices filled the chamber. The Vellani were known as peaceful traders and miners. They had no strong military. Everyone knew they could not fight the brutal Korth warriors. A green-scaled female alien stood up. "What help can we send? Our nearest fleet is 6 days away." "The Althari have 2 medical ships nearby," another voice called out. "We could send supplies." "Medical ships will not stop Korth battleships," Tejo said firmly. "We need combat vessels. But as you said, our main fleets are too far away." The council members talked loudly among themselves. Some suggested sending a single cruiser. Others said they should wait for the main fleet to arrive. Nobody wanted to risk their ships against the dangerous Korth forces. In the back corner of the chamber, Ambassador Somin sat quietly. She was human and still new to the Galactic Council. Earth had joined only 2 years ago. Most aliens saw humans as primitive newcomers from a dangerous world. They barely trusted humans to handle simple trade agreements. Somin stood up slowly. Her black hair was tied back neatly, and she wore a simple gray suit. "The human government would like to help with this crisis." The chamber became quiet. All eyes turned to look at the human representative. Some aliens whispered to each other. A few even laughed softly. Admiral Tejo looked surprised. "That is kind of you, Ambassador Somin. But this is a serious military situation. The Korth are very dangerous warriors." "We understand the risks," Somin replied calmly. "Earth wants to do its part to help innocent people." A blue alien with tentacles for arms spoke up. "Humans barely have space travel. Your ships are old and slow. This is not a job for beginners." "The Korth destroyed a Zalani battle group last month," another alien added. "They are too strong for a single human ship." Somin nodded politely. "We only want to help. Perhaps we could carry supplies or help with evacuations." Admiral Tejo thought for a moment. He knew the humans were trying to build good relationships with other species. Refusing their help might offend them. But he also knew human ships were weak compared to other races. "Very well," he said finally. "Earth may send one support vessel. But stay away from the fighting. The Korth will destroy you easily." "Thank you for this chance," Somin said. She sat down and activated her communication device. The message she sent was very short. "Council-approved human assistance. Begin Operation Shield." The other council members continued their debate. They argued about which medical supplies to send. They discussed evacuation routes for Vellani civilians. They planned to send their fastest courier ship to call for the main fleet. Nobody paid attention to the human ambassador anymore. She sat quietly and listened to their plans. Her face showed no emotion as the aliens talked about sending minimal help to the dying colonies. On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Wu Jin received Somin's message on his command ship. He was a serious man with short black hair and many years of military experience. He read the message twice, then walked to his bridge. "Communications, send the activation code to all fleet commanders," he ordered. "Sir, which fleet?" asked his young officer. "All of them," Wu Jin said simply. The officer's eyes went wide. "Sir, that's over 300 ships." "I know exactly how many ships we have," Wu Jin replied. "Send the message." Back at the council station, the debate continued for 2 more hours. The aliens finally agreed to send 3 medical ships and 1 security cruiser. They felt proud of their quick response to help the Vallani people. Admiral Tae-ho made the closing announcement. "The Council will send immediate aid to the Vallani Republic. We expect our help to arrive in 4 days. The human support vessel should arrive around the same time." The meeting ended and aliens began leaving the chamber. Many stopped to talk about the crisis. Some worried that the Korth might attack other peaceful worlds next. Others said the small aid mission would not be enough. Ambassador So-min walked slowly toward the exit. A few aliens nodded politely as she passed. They still saw her as the representative of a weak, primitive world trying to help in a serious situation. "Ambassador," Admiral Tae-ho called out. So-min turned to face him. "I hope your ship will be careful," he said with genuine concern. "The court do not take prisoners. They kill everyone they find." "We will be very careful," So-min promised. "Humans do not like to see innocent people suffer." Tae-ho nodded. "Your people have good hearts. I hope that will be enough to keep you safe." As So-min left the station, she thought about the Admiral's words. He seemed like a good person who truly wanted to help, but he had no idea what was really coming. In the deep space around Earth's solar system, hundreds of human warships were already moving. They came out of hidden bases on asteroids and moons. Some had been disguised as mining stations or research facilities. Others had been waiting in the dark space between planets. Fleet Admiral Hanul stood on the bridge of her massive command ship. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and gray hair. She had fought in many battles during Earth's violent history. Now she would show the galaxy what humans really were. "Status report," she ordered. "All battle groups are ready," her aide replied. 312 combat vessels, including support ships. "Good. Set course for the Vallani system. Maximum speed." "Admiral, the Council thinks we're sending 1 small ship." Hanul smiled coldly. "Let them think that. They will learn the truth soon enough." The human fleet began its journey toward the Vallani Republic. Behind them, Earth's factories worked day and night to build even more ships. The galaxy was about to discover that humans were not the helpless primitives they appeared to be. They were apex predators who had been waiting for the right moment to show their true nature. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with activity even after the main meeting ended. Small groups of aliens gathered around tables, making plans for their aid mission to the Vallani Republic. Admiral Tae-ho stood at a large screen showing maps and shipping routes. "The medical convoy will need 3 days to reach Vallani space," he told his staff. "Our security cruiser can escort them most of the way." A young alien officer pointed at the map. "Sir, what about evacuation ships? Should we prepare refugee centers?" Tae-ho sighed deeply. "With only 1 cruiser, we cannot protect evacuation routes. The Korth will attack any ship they see." While the Council made their careful plans, something very different was happening in Earth's solar system. Captain Wu Jin's message had reached every human military base. From the hidden stations on Mars to the secret facilities in the asteroid belt, warships were powering up their engines. On Luna Base, Commander He-Jin walked quickly through the hangar bays. Hundreds of fighter pilots were climbing into their ships. These were not the slow, peaceful vessels the aliens expected humans to use. They were sleek, deadly machines built for war. "All squadrons report ready," her flight leader announced. "Good. Tell the pilots to remember their training. We're not fighting practice targets this time." In the outer system, massive battleships emerged from their hiding places. Some had been disguised as cargo haulers. Others had been positioned near asteroids, hidden from long-range sensors. The galaxy thought humans had maybe 50 small ships. They were wrong by several hundred vessels. Fleet Admiral Ha Nul reviewed the attack plans on her flagship. The ship was enormous, bigger than anything the Galactic Council had ever seen humans build. Its armor was thick, and its weapons were designed to destroy heavily defended targets. "Intelligence reports, Admiral," said her aide, a serious woman named Bo-Ra. "The Korth have 68 combat ships in Villani space. They're spread across 12 star systems." "And the Villani defenses?" "Almost gone. The Korth destroyed their main fleet in the first attack. Only a few patrol ships remain." Hanul studied the tactical display. The Korth had spread their forces to attack multiple colonies at once. It was a smart strategy against weak enemies. Against humans, it was a terrible mistake. Signal all battle groups. We attack everything at once. No Korth ship escapes. Meanwhile, in the Villani Republic, the situation grew worse every hour. Mining Director Kyung-Soo stood in the emergency center on Villani Prime, watching helpless as reports came in from the outer colonies. "Colony 7 has gone silent," reported his assistant. "That's the fourth one today." Kyung-Soo felt sick. Each colony had thousands of innocent miners and their families. The Korth were killing them all for no reason except cruelty. "Any word from the Galactic Council?" he asked. "They're sending medical ships and one security cruiser. It will arrive in 3 days." "3 days," Kyung-Soo whispered. "We don't have 3 days." On the other side of the planet, Security Chief Yoonji was trying to organize the last defenses. She had been a police officer before the crisis. Now she was commanding orbital weapons platforms and the few remaining patrol ships. "Chief, the Korth fleet is moving toward Colony 2, one of her officers reported. "Should we send our ships to help?" Yoonji looked at her tactical screen. She had 6 small patrol vessels against 68 Korth warships. "No, we stay here and protect the capital. We can't save the colonies." It hurt to say those words, but Yoonji knew the truth. Her tiny force could not stop the Korth anywhere. All she could do was make their final attack on the homeworld cost them dearly. In Korth space, War Chief Vextar celebrated another easy victory. His ship, a massive black destroyer, floated above the burning remains of a Villani mining station. The Korth enjoyed destruction. It proved their strength. "War Chief, we detected long-range communications from the target system," his intelligence officer reported. "They called for help." Vextar laughed. His voice was deep and harsh, like grinding metal. "Who would help them? The council races are too weak and too far away." The messages went to the Galactic Council station. "They're sending a small aid. Convoy." "How small?" 3 medical ships and 1 cruiser, sir. Also something called a human support vessel. Vextar had never heard of humans. "What are humans?" "A new species, War Chief. They joined the Council recently, from a world the Council calls dangerous, but their technology is primitive." "One ship?" Vexitar grinned, showing sharp teeth. "We'll destroy it with the others. The Council needs to learn not to interfere with Korth business. Back on Earth, the final preparations were almost complete. The human fleet was gathering at the edge of the solar system. To any watching aliens, it would look like normal space traffic. Human ships used stealth technology that made them nearly invisible at long range. Admiral Hanuel received a message from Admiral Teho at the Council station. He wanted to coordinate their arrival times and discuss safety protocols for the human support vessel. Hanuel almost smiled as she recorded her reply. Admiral Teho, the human vessel will arrive on schedule. We appreciate the Council's efforts to help the Volani people. Earth stands ready to do its part. She did not mention that 300 warships were already traveling toward Volani space at maximum speed. The humans had learned long ago that enemies often underestimated quiet threats. On the bridge of his command ship, Captain Wu Jin watched the fleet formation reports. Every battle group was in position. The fighters were ready. The support ships carried enough supplies for a long campaign. Captain, message from Fleet Admiral Hanuel, his communications officer announced. She wants to confirm our tactical assignments. Tell the Admiral that Battle Group 7 is ready for immediate deployment. We'll handle the outer colonies while the main fleet deals with the Korth home base. Tactical Officer Minho looked up from his display. Sir, are we really going to attack all their positions at once? That's the plan, Wu Jin confirmed. The Korth think they're fighting primitives. They're about to learn what happens when Deathworlders go to war. As the human fleet raced through hyperspace, the Galactic Council finished their own modest preparations. Admiral Teho felt proud that they had organized help so quickly. 3 medical ships would save many lives. 1 cruiser would provide some protection. He had no idea that the largest military force in galactic history was already halfway to the battle zone. The Council aliens thought they were sending charity to help weak victims. The humans were bringing something much different. They were bringing the full fury of a species that had spent millions of years learning how to kill efficiently. The Korth had picked the wrong enemy. They just didn't know it yet. War Chief Vestan stood on his command bridge, watching the destruction of another Volani colony. His massive warship floated above the burning planet like a dark metal mountain. The Korth had been attacking for 6 days now, and victory seemed certain. War Chief, our scouts report strange readings at the edge of the system, his sensor operator announced. Vestan turned away from the burning world below. What kind of readings? Hyperspace signatures, sir. Multiple contacts approaching fast. The Council aid convoy? No, sir. These signatures are much larger, and there are many of them. Vestan frowned. His intelligence report said the Council was sending only 3 medical ships and 1 small cruiser. How many contacts? The sensor operator checked his instruments again. His face showed confusion. Over 200, War Chief, maybe more. The readings are very strong. Impossible. There is no fleet that large in this region. But even as Vestan spoke, space began to change at the edge of the Volani system. Bright flashes of light appeared as ships dropped out of hyperspace. First 10 ships, then 50. Then 100. On the planet below, Security Chief Yunji was coordinating the evacuation of the capital city when her communications officer shouted in excitement, "Chief! New contacts on long-range sensors. A large fleet just arrived at the system edge." Yunji ran to the sensor station. The display showed dozens of ship icons appearing every few seconds. Is it the Council fleet? No, ma'am. These ships are too big, and there are too many of them. Then who? Before anyone could answer, the communications board lit up with an incoming message. The transmission was clear and strong, spoken in perfect Volani language. Volani Republic, This is Admiral Hanol of the Human Defense Fleet. We received your distress call. Help has arrived. Yunji stared at the communication display. Human? Did he say human? More ships kept appearing at the system edge. The sensor operator started counting them out loud. 150, 200, 250. At the same time, War Chief Vextar was experiencing his own shock. His bridge crew watched in disbelief as the human fleet continued to emerge from hyperspace. These were not the primitive vessels their intelligence reports had described. War Chief, his tactical officer called out nervously, these ships are armed with heavy weapons. Their energy signatures are enormous. Vextar studied the display screen. The human ships moved in perfect formation. There were hundreds of them, from small destroyers to massive battleships that dwarfed even his own command vessel. "Get me Admiral Zorkoth," he ordered. "Tell him we need reinforcements immediately." "Sir, Admiral Zorkoth is 12 hours away with the reserve fleet." "Then tell him to come faster." On the human flagship, Admiral Hanul stood calmly on her bridge as damage reports came in from the Volani colonies. Her gray hair was tied back in a simple knot, and her uniform showed no decoration except for small rank pins. "Admiral, we have full tactical data on Korth positions," reported her intelligence officer, Bora. 68 enemy vessels spread across 12 systems. They're attacking civilian targets. Any military targets? They destroyed the Volani defense fleet in the first attack. Now they're just killing miners and farmers. Hanul's expression did not change, but her voice became colder. "Signal all battle groups. Execute Attack Plan Alpha. No Korth vessel leaves this system." Communications Officer Ji-hoon activated the fleet-wide channel. "All ships, this is Admiral Hanul. We have traveled far to help our Volani friends. The Korth have chosen to attack innocent people. This ends now." The human fleet began to move. It was like watching a massive pack of predators spreading out to hunt. Each battle group knew exactly where to go and what to do. Captain Wu Jin commanded the lead battle group. His ship was smaller than the Admiral's flagship, but still larger than any Korth vessel. He studied the tactical display as his ships approached the first group of enemies. "Target the largest Korth ship first," he told his weapons officer. "Show them what human guns can do." On Mining Director Kyung-soo's planet, the emergency center had become very quiet. Everyone stared at the sensor displays showing the approaching human fleet. No one could believe what they were seeing. "Sir," his assistant whispered, "there are over 300 human ships out there." Kyung-soo shook his head slowly. "The Council said humans were primitive. They said Earth barely had space travel." Maybe the Council was wrong. Meanwhile, Korth scouts throughout the system were sending panicked reports back to their commanders. The humans had not announced themselves or demanded surrender. They had simply appeared in overwhelming numbers and begun moving toward every Korth position. War Chief Vexitar tried to organize his scattered forces. "All ships, return to Formation Delta. We make our stand at the gas giant." But his ships were spread too far apart. The humans had timed their arrival perfectly. The Korth fleet was divided and unable to support each other. "War Chief," his sensor operator called out urgently, "the human ships are moving very fast. They'll reach our outer positions in 30 minutes. 30 minutes? That's impossible. No fleet moves that fast. Sir, I'm reading the data correctly. These ships are much faster than our intelligence reports indicated." Vextar began to understand that everything they knew about humans was wrong. These were not the slow, primitive vessels he had expected. These were warships built by a species that understood combat. On the human flagship, Admiral Hanul received status reports from all battle groups. Her fleet was in position to attack every Korth force simultaneously. The enemy had nowhere to run and no time to prepare proper defenses. Admiral, the Korth are trying to group their ships near the fourth planet, Bo-Ra reported. Let them try. Signal Captain Wu Jin. His battle group will hit them first. I want the Korth to see what happens when they threaten innocent people. Hanul looked at the tactical display one more time. The human fleet surrounded the Korth forces completely. In her many years of military service, she had learned that the best way to end a war quickly was to win the first battle so decisively that the enemy lost all hope. All ships, she announced over the fleet channel. You are authorized to engage. Show them why Earth is called a death world. The human fleet began its attack. 300 warships moving with deadly purpose toward an enemy that had expected to face nothing stronger than a council medical convoy. The Korth were about to learn that sometimes the galaxy's newest members were also its most dangerous, and this was only the beginning. Captain Wu Jin's battle group reached the first Korth formation exactly 31 minutes after the human fleet had emerged from hyperspace. No warnings were sent. No demands for surrender were made. The humans simply opened fire. Wu Jin stood calmly on his bridge as his weapons officer announced target lock. Fire, he said simply. The human battleship's main gun spoke with a voice like thunder. Massive kinetic rounds shot out at incredible speed, crossing the distance to the Korth ships in seconds. The first round hit a Korth destroyer directly in the center. The alien ship simply disappeared in a flash of light and metal fragments. Target destroyed, the weapons officer reported. Engaging second target. War Chief Vexitar watched in horror as 3 of his ships were destroyed in the first minute of combat. The human weapons were nothing like what his intelligence reports had described. These were not primitive energy beams or simple missiles. These were solid metal projectiles that hit with the force of asteroids. Return fire! All ships, attack pattern 7. The Korth ships began shooting back, but their weapons seemed weak compared to the human guns. Their energy beams struck human shields and barely made them flicker. Their missiles were shot down by human defense systems before they could reach their targets. War Chief, our weapons are not effective, his tactical officer reported with growing panic. Impossible! Korth weapons are the strongest in the galaxy. Sir, the human ships have very thick armor. Our beams cannot penetrate it. On the human ship, Tactical Officer Minho calmly tracked the incoming Korth fire. Sir, enemy weapons are having minimal effect on our defenses. Captain Wu Jin nodded. Human ships were built to survive in the dangerous space around Earth's solar system. They could handle radiation storms, asteroid impacts, and the gravitational stress of multiple planets. Korth energy weapons felt like gentle rain compared to what human ships normally endured. Continue firing. Target their largest ship next. The battle became completely one-sided within minutes. Human ships moved with precision while Korth vessels scattered in confusion. The aliens had fought many wars against other council species, but those enemies fought with honor and rules. They gave warnings. They tried to minimize casualties. They followed the ancient laws of civilized warfare. Humans did none of these things. Commander Hai Jin led a squadron of human fighters toward a group of Korth support ships. Her pilots flew with the aggressive style that came naturally to a species that had evolved from predators. Gold Squadron, Attack Formation Beta, hit them fast and hard. The human fighters moved like hunting wolves, surrounding the Korth ships and attacking from multiple directions. Their weapons were designed to pierce armor and destroy vital systems. Within minutes, 5 Korth support vessels were floating dead in space. "This is Gold 1, Jin reported to the fleet. "Enemy support group neutralized. Moving to next target." In another part of the battle zone, War Chief Vexitar's command ship faced Captain Wu Jin's battleship directly. The Korth vessel was larger, but it might as well have been made of paper. "All weapons, focus fire on the human command ship," Vexitar ordered desperately. Every gun on the Korth ship fired at once. Energy beams and missiles struck the human vessel's shields and armor. Explosions covered the human ship in bright light. For a moment, Vexitar hoped they had won. Then the light faded, and the human ship was still there. Its armor was blackened but not breached. Its shields were flickering but holding. "Impossible," Vexitar whispered. Captain Wu Jin's reply came in the form of a single shot from his main gun. The kinetic round struck the Korth command ship's bridge section and tore through the hull like it was made of thin metal. Emergency. Alarms screamed as atmosphere leaked into space. "War Chief, we've lost main power," his engineer shouted. "Life support is failing." Vexitar looked around his ruined bridge. Half his crew was dead or injured, his ship was dying, and the human vessel continued to approach. Completely undamaged. "Signal the retreat," he ordered weakly. "Sir, our communications are destroyed. Across the Villani system, similar scenes played, out as human battle groups engaged Korth forces. The aliens discovered that human tactics were brutal and efficient. There were no fancy maneuvers or honor duels. Human ships simply found the most effective way to destroy their targets and did. Lieutenant Colonel Jae Sung commanded a boarding party that captured a Korth supply depot. His Marines moved through the alien facility with practiced precision, neutralizing resistance and securing valuable intelligence. "Colonel, we found their communication logs," reported Sergeant Yun Seo. "The Korth were planning to attack 6 more systems after they finished here." "Send that information to Admiral Hanul immediately," Jae Sung ordered. "We need to make sure they can't hurt anyone else." Engineer Sujin demonstrated human adaptability by quickly learning how to operate captured Korth equipment. Within an hour, she had turned their own defensive systems against them, using Korth weapons to destroy Korth ships. The aliens build their systems too simply, she explained to her team. "It's easy to reprogram them once you understand the basic principles." On the human flagship, Admiral Han Nul received battle reports from all her commanders. The results were exactly what she had expected. Human forces were winning decisively across the entire system. "Admiral, the Korth are trying to retreat," Bora reported. "Several ships are heading toward the hyperspace jump point. Signal all pursuit groups. No Korth ship leaves this system. We end this threat completely." This was the human way of war. When they committed to violence, they committed totally. There would be no partial victory that left enemies free to attack again later. There would be no mercy for those who chose to harm innocent people. Medical officer Dr. Young Hee worked frantically to save both Villani civilians and captured Korth soldiers. Her medical team set up aid stations throughout the battle zone, showing the complex nature of human warfare. They could be merciless to active enemies while simultaneously caring for the wounded and helpless. "Doctor, we have 30 Villani survivors from Colony 7, her assistant reported. "Bring them aboard immediately. Set up beds in Cargo Bay 2. "What? About the Korth prisoners? Treat their injuries too. We're warriors, not murderers." As the battle continued, War Chief Vexitar's damaged ship limped toward the edge of the system. He had never experienced such a complete defeat. His forces were being systematically destroyed by an enemy he had never taken seriously. "How many ships have we lost?" he asked his surviving officers. 23 destroyed, sir. 15 more heavily damaged. The humans have lost none," None. Their ships are too strong, War Chief. Our weapons cannot hurt them. Vexitar stared at the tactical display showing the human fleet. They moved with perfect coordination, like parts of a single massive organism. Every action was calculated for maximum effect. There was no waste, no hesitation, no mercy. He finally understood what his intelligence officers had missed. Humans were not primitive newcomers to space. They were apex predators who had been hiding their true nature until the right moment came to reveal it. That moment was now, and the Korth were learning what it meant to face a species that had evolved to kill efficiently. The battle was ending, but the war was just beginning. War Chief Vexitar's damaged command ship struggled to reach the system's edge while human fighters swarmed around it like angry insects. His bridge was dark except for emergency lighting, and the smell of burning electronics filled the air. War Chief, the humans are demanding our surrender, his communications officer reported. Korth do not surrender, Vexitar snarled, but his voice lacked its usual strength. Sir, they're not asking. They're telling us to surrender or be destroyed. Through his ship's cracked viewports, Vexitar could see human vessels surrounding his fleet survivors. There were dozens of sleek human destroyers and cruisers, all pointing their weapons at the remaining Korth ships. The humans had won so completely that they could afford to offer mercy. This is Captain Wu Jin of the Human Defense Fleet, came a calm voice over the communications. You have 60 seconds to surrender. After that, we will resume firing. Vexitar looked around his ruined bridge. Half his officers were dead. His ship was barely functional. His mighty fleet had been reduced to a handful of damaged vessels in less than 3 hours. Why? He asked the human captain. Why are you doing this? We had no conflict with your species. You attacked innocent people, Wu Jin replied simply. Humans do not allow that to continue. But you barely have space technology. Our intelligence said you were primitive. There was a pause before the human answered. Your intelligence was wrong about many things. You have 30 seconds to surrender. On the planet below, Security Chief Yunji watched the space battle from her command center. Her sensor displays showed the complete destruction of the Korth invasion fleet. In 3 hours, the humans had accomplished what the entire Galactic Council could not do in months. Chief, we're receiving a message from the human admiral, her communications officer announced. Put it through. Admiral Ha Nul's image appeared on the main screen. She was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. Despite commanding the largest fleet battle in recent history, she looked completely calm. Security Chief Yunji I am. Admiral Ha Nul, are your people safe? Most of them, thanks to you. But Admiral, how did you build such a massive fleet? The Council said humans had maybe 50 ships. Ha Nul smiled slightly. The Council sees what we choose to show them. Earth has been preparing for situations like this for many years. Preparing for what? For the day when peaceful species would need protection from predators. In space, Lieutenant Colonel Jae Sung led his Marines aboard a captured Korth battleship. The alien vessel was huge and heavily armed, but its crew had surrendered rather than face human boarding parties. Jae Sung's Marines moved through the ship's corridors with practiced efficiency. They wore heavy armor that protected them from the toxic atmosphere that Korth breathed. Their weapons were designed to work in any environment, against any enemy. Colonel, we found their data core, reported Sergeant Yun Seo. It contains intelligence on Korth military operations throughout this sector. Copy everything. Command will want to know about their other planned attacks. The captured Korth crew watched nervously as human Marines secured their ship. They had expected the humans to kill them or torture them for information. Instead, the Marines provided medical care for the wounded and ensured everyone had adequate life support. "Why do they treat us well?" asked a young Korth officer. "We would not show such mercy." His captain had no answer. The humans were unlike any enemy the Korth had ever faced. They fought with overwhelming force, but showed restraint toward those who surrendered. Engineer Su Jin worked quickly to understand Korth technology. She had captured several of their ships intact and was studying their weapons and engines. What she found surprised her. The Korth build their ships for intimidation more than effectiveness, she explained to her technical team. "Look at these weapon systems. They're designed to create impressive visual effects, but the actual damage output is relatively low." "Why would they do that?" asked her assistant. "Because most of their enemies surrender when they see the flashy displays. The Korth haven't fought anyone who ignored their psychological warfare. This was why human weapons had been so effective. While other species built ships to look dangerous, humans built ships to be dangerous. Human weapons were designed to destroy targets quickly and efficiently, not to impress observers." Admiral Han Newell received status reports from throughout the Volani system. Her fleet had accomplished every objective with minimal losses. The Korth invasion force was completely destroyed or captured. "Admiral, we found something interesting in the Korth communication logs," Intelligence Officer Bora reported. "They were planning to attack the Althari colonies next, then move on to the Zalani, homeworld. How many other species were on their target list?" "At least 12, ma'am." The Korth were planning a campaign of conquest that would have lasted years. Han Newell studied the intelligence data. The Korth had not just attacked the Volani Republic. They had been testing the galaxy's defenses, looking for weak targets they could conquer easily. "Send this information to the Galactic Council immediately," she ordered. "They need to understand the scope of the Korth threat." On his damaged ship, War Chief Vextar finally accepted reality. His mighty fleet was gone. His invasion was over. And he was completely at the mercy of a species he had never heard of until today. "Signal surrender to the human fleet," he told his communications officer quietly. "War Chief?" "Do it. Our ships are destroyed. Our crews are dead or captured. We have lost." The surrender message went out to Captain Wu Jin's ship. Within minutes, human vessels surrounded the remaining Korth ships and began boarding operations. Vextar was escorted to a human ship by Marines who treated him with professional courtesy. He expected to be executed or imprisoned in terrible conditions. Instead, he was given medical treatment for his injuries and housed in clean, comfortable quarters. "I do not understand," he told his human guard. "Why do you not kill me?" The guard, a young woman named Private Jinnah, looked at him with curiosity. "Why would we kill you? You surrendered. The fighting is over." "But I am your enemy. I attacked innocent people." "You were our enemy," Jinnah corrected. "Now you're a prisoner of war. There's a difference." Vextar had never encountered this concept before. In Korth culture, enemies were killed or enslaved. The idea of treating defeated foes with dignity was completely foreign to him. Dr. Young Hee's medical teams worked around the clock to treat casualties from the battle. They saved Volani civilians, human crew members, and Korth prisoners with equal care and skill. "Doctor, the Korth prisoners keep asking why we're helping them," her assistant reported. "Tell them it's what civilized beings do," Young Hee replied. "We fight when we must, but we always remember our humanity." As the battle ended, Admiral Han Newell prepared her report to Earth Command. The Volani Republic was safe. The Korth invasion was over. and the galaxy had seen what humans could do when innocent people were threatened. But this was only the beginning. The human fleet had revealed itself for the first time. Every species in the galaxy would want to know more about these mysterious newcomers who had appeared from nowhere with the most powerful military force anyone had ever seen. Mining Director Kyung-soo sent a message to the Galactic Council. The human fleet has saved our people. We owe them our lives. But more importantly, every peaceful species in the galaxy now knows that someone is willing and able to protect them from predators. War Chief Vextar, sitting in his clean human prison cell, understood the truth that the rest of the galaxy was just beginning to learn. Humans were not the primitive newcomers they appeared to be. They were apex predators who had been waiting patiently for the right moment to show their true nature. That moment had come, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. Admiral Hanul stood on her flagship's bridge, watching as human ships systematically eliminated every Korth military asset in the Vellani system. This was not just a battle victory. This was the complete implementation of human military doctrine. When you commit to violence, you commit totally. Admiral, Captain Dong Hyun reports that his support ships have established safe corridors for civilian evacuation, Communications Officer Ji-hoon announced. Hanul nodded approvingly. While her combat vessels destroyed enemy forces, her support ships were saving lives. This dual approach showed the complex nature of human warfare, absolutely brutal to enemies, completely protective of innocents. Captain Dong Hyun's ship moved carefully through the debris field that had once been a Korth fleet. His crew worked to rescue survivors from damaged civilian transports while simultaneously coordinating the destruction of enemy supply depots. Captain, we have 47 Vellani civilians aboard, his medical officer reported. All are receiving treatment. Good. What about the Korth survivors? 63 prisoners, sir. They're being treated according to our standard protocols. Dong Hyun watched through his viewports as human destroyers systematically eliminated every Korth orbital platform in the system. The aliens had built these stations to control shipping and intimidate local populations. Now they were clouds of expanding metal fragments. Sir, should we attempt to capture any of the Korth installations intact? His tactical officer asked. Negative. Admiral Hanul's orders are clear. No Korth military assets remain functional. We eliminate their ability to threaten anyone. This was the human way. When Earth committed to military action, they didn't just defeat enemy forces. They eliminated enemy capabilities so completely that rebuilding would take years or decades. On Mining Director Kyung-soo's planet, Dr. Young-hee had established multiple field hospitals. Her medical teams moved between treating Vellani civilians and caring for captured Korth soldiers with the same professional dedication. Doctor, the Korth prisoners keep asking questions, her assistant reported. They want to know why we're saving their lives. Young-hee looked up from treating a wounded Vellani miner. What do you tell them? That it's what humans do. But I don't think they understand. Young-hee walked over to where several Korth prisoners lay on medical beds. Their thick, gray skin was covered with bandages, and their large eyes watched her nervously. You fear us, she observed calmly. One of the Korth, a young soldier, nodded slowly. You destroyed our fleet in hours. You could destroy our homeworld just as easily. Probably, Young-hee agreed. But we won't. You're wounded prisoners now, not enemy soldiers. Our job is to heal you. Even though we attacked innocent people, especially because you attacked innocent people, someone needs to show you a better way. The Korth soldier stared at her in confusion. His species solved problems through strength and intimidation. The idea of showing mercy to defeated enemies was completely foreign to him. Meanwhile, intelligence. Officer Bora was analyzing captured Korth data with growing concern. The invasion of the Volani Republic was just the beginning of a much larger campaign. Admiral, the Korth files show planned attacks on 12 other systems, she reported to Admiral Hanul. They were going to conquer an entire sector of space. Show me their targets. Bora displayed a star map showing Korth expansion plans. Red arrows indicated planned invasion routes through peaceful systems. Mining colonies, agricultural worlds, and research stations were all marked for conquest. The Volani attack was a test, Bora explained. The Korth wanted to see how quickly the Galactic Council would respond to aggression against member species. And what did they learn? That the Council is too slow and too weak to protect anyone. Hanul studied the tactical display. If the Korth had succeeded here, they would have grown bolder. More innocent people would have died while the Council debated proper procedures and proportional responses. Signal all battle groups. Expand our search pattern. I want every Korth military installation in this sector identified and eliminated. Ma'am, that's beyond our original mission parameters. Our mission is to protect innocent people, Hanul replied firmly. That mission isn't complete until the Korth can't threaten anyone. Captain Wu Jin received the Admiral's new orders while his ships finished destroying a Korth supply convoy. His tactical display showed dozens of potential targets throughout the region. Sir, engaging all those installations will require weeks of operations, Tactical Officer Min Ho reported. Then will take weeks, Wu Jin replied. The Admiral is right. We can't leave threats intact just because they're inconvenient to eliminate. This was why human fleets were so large. Other species built forces to win specific battles. Humans built forces to win entire wars quickly and decisively. Engineer Su Jin worked with her team to analyze captured Korth weapons technology. What she found confirmed her earlier observations about alien military thinking. The Korth focus on intimidation rather than effectiveness, she explained to Admiral Hanul during their daily briefing. Their weapons look impressive but lack real destructive power. What about their defenses? Even worse. They assume their enemies will use similar tactics. Lots of flashy displays but limited actual damage. Their shields and armor are designed to stop energy weapons that prioritize visual impact over penetration. No wonder our kinetic weapons were so effective. Su Jin nodded. Human weapons are designed to destroy targets efficiently. We don't care how impressive they look. This difference in philosophy explained the one-sided nature of the battle. While aliens built weapons for psychological warfare, humans built weapons for killing. The results spoke for themselves. Security Chief Eun-ji coordinated with human forces to establish safe zones throughout the Volani Republic. She had never seen such efficient military operations. Chief, the humans have cleared the Korth from all 12 colony systems, her aide reported. They're establishing patrol routes to prevent any remaining enemies from regrouping. How long will they maintain these patrols? According to Admiral Hanul, until the Volani Republic can rebuild its own defenses. Probably several months. Yun-ji was amazed. The humans were not just helping with the immediate crisis. They were ensuring long-term security for people they had never met before today. War Chief Vextar, now a prisoner aboard a human ship, watched through a porthole as more Korth installations were destroyed. Each explosion represented years of military buildup reduced to space debris in minutes. They're not just defeating us, he told his fellow prisoners. They're erasing us from this sector completely. Will they attack our homeworld? asked another Korth officer. I don't know, but if they do, nothing will stop them. Vextar had spent his life believing that Korth military power was unbeatable. Watching human forces systematically eliminate decades of Korth expansion had shattered that belief completely. Admiral Hanul received a priority message from Earth Command. The news of the Vellani victory was spreading throughout the galaxy, and other species were asking questions about human capabilities. Admiral, the Galactic Council wants to meet with you, Ji-Hoon reported. Admiral Tae-ho is requesting a full briefing on our operations here. Tell him I'll be happy to explain our actions, Ha-Nul replied. Schedule the meeting for after we finish cleaning up this sector. How long will that take? Ha-Nul looked at her tactical display, showing dozens of Korth installations marked for destruction. About 2 weeks. We want to be thorough. The human fleet continued its systematic elimination of Korth military power. This was not revenge or cruelty. This was practical military thinking. Leaving enemy capabilities intact just meant having to fight the same battles again later. Dr. Young-hee treated her last patient of the day, a young Vellani girl who had been injured during the Korth attack on her colony. As the child slept peacefully in the hospital bed, Young-hee reflected on the nature of human warfare. They could be merciless killers when facing enemies who threatened innocents. But they could also be gentle healers who treated all wounded, beings with equal care. This duality was what made humans so effective in combat. They never forgot why they were fighting. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in their recorded history. Representatives from dozens of species filled the Great Chamber, all talking at once about the impossible reports coming from the Vellani Republic. Admiral Tae-ho stood at the central podium looking overwhelmed by the flood of information crossing his desk. His hands shook slightly as he read the latest intelligence summary. Council members, please maintain order, he called out, but his voice was barely heard over the excited conversations. A tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms stood up. Admiral Tae-ho, is it true that humans deployed over 300 warships? That appears to be correct, Tae-ho replied uncertainly. Impossible, shouted another representative. Earth barely has space technology. Our surveys showed maybe 50 primitive vessels. Our surveys were wrong, Tae-ho admitted quietly. The chamber erupted in louder discussions. Some aliens demanded immediate investigations into human capabilities. Others suggested emergency defense preparations. A few species were already drafting requests for human protection. In the back of the chamber, Ambassador So-min sat calmly while chaos swirled around her. She had expected this reaction. For 2 years, she had watched Council species treat Earth as an insignificant newcomer. Now they were learning the truth. Ambassador So-min, called out a representative from the Althari Federation. How many ships does Earth actually possess? So-min stood slowly, and the chamber gradually became quiet. All eyes focused on the human representative who had seemed so unimportant just days ago. Earth maintains sufficient military forces to protect our interests and defend our allies, she replied diplomatically. That's not an answer, protested a Zalani counselor. We need specific numbers. The specific numbers depend on the specific threat, So-min said with a slight smile. The Korth invasion required 300 ships. A larger threat would require a larger response. The implications of her words sent a chill through the chamber. If humans had committed 300 ships to help strangers, how many ships did they keep in reserve for their own defense? On the Vellani homeworld, President Kang Dae was holding his own emergency session. the rapid destruction of the Korth. Invasion had saved his people, but it had also forced him to reconsider everything he thought he knew about galactic politics. "Madam President, Admiral Hanul is requesting a private meeting," his aide announced. "Of course. Bring her here immediately." Admiral Hanul arrived within the hour, accompanied by only a small security detail. Despite commanding the largest military victory in recent memory, she carried herself with quiet dignity rather than arrogance. "Admiral, my people owe you their lives," President Kangde said sincerely. "No payment is necessary," Hanul replied. "Protecting innocent people is the right thing to do." But surely Earth expects something in return. Trade agreements, military bases, resource rights. Hanul looked genuinely puzzled. "Why would we expect payment for doing what's right?" President Kangde stared at her in amazement. In his experience, no military force provided help without expecting significant compensation. The idea of a species that protected others simply because it was moral was completely foreign to him. "Admiral, I would like to discuss a formal defense alliance between our peoples." "That would be acceptable," Hanul agreed. "Earth is always willing to help peaceful species defend themselves." Back at the Galactic Council Station, intelligence analyst Bora was briefing senior staff about the broader implications of human military capabilities. "Based on our analysis of the Volani operation, Earth possesses the largest and most advanced military force in known space," she reported. "How is that possible?" asked Admiral Tejo. "They only achieved space travel 50 years ago. Sir, we may have misunderstood the nature of their technological development. Earth is classified as a death world, an extremely dangerous planet that should produce extremely dangerous inhabitants. But they seemed so peaceful in all our diplomatic contacts. They were peaceful because they chose to be peaceful, not because they lacked the ability to be otherwise. This distinction was crucial. The Council had assumed human pacifism indicated weakness. In reality, it indicated strength. Only species confident in their ability to defend themselves could afford to be truly peaceful. Captain Wu Jin received new orders while his battle group was finishing the destruction of the last Korth supply depot in the sector. Earth Command wanted him to establish permanent patrol routes to prevent any Korth resurgence. "Sir, Command is asking us to maintain a presence here indefinitely," his communications officer reported. "Understood. Signal the fleet. We're setting up a permanent base in this system." "A permanent base, sir?" "The Volani are our allies now. Allies protect each other." Within days, human construction ships arrived to begin building a massive naval facility in Volani space. The base would house 50 warships and serve as headquarters for human operations in this sector of the galaxy. Other species watched these developments with growing concern and amazement. The humans were not just visiting the Volani Republic. They were moving in permanently. War Chief Vextar, still imprisoned on a human ship, was granted permission to send a message to the Korth High Command. His words would change the course of his species' future. "High Command, this is War Chief Vextar. The invasion has failed completely. Human forces are not what our intelligence indicated. They possess overwhelming military superiority. I recommend immediate cessation of all aggressive operations and formal peace negotiations." The response came back within hours. "Impossible. Humans are primitive. Continue the mission." Vextar stared at the message in disbelief. His superiors refused to accept the reality he had witnessed. They would learn the truth soon enough, but probably too late to avoid complete disaster. Dr. Young-hee established a permanent medical facility on the Volani capital world. Her hospital would serve as a training center for local doctors while providing advanced medical care to anyone who needed it. Doctor, representatives from 6 other species are requesting medical assistance, her aide reported. They've heard about our treatment capabilities. Tell them we're happy to help, Young He replied. Healing people is just as important as protecting them. The human approach to galactic relationships was unlike anything other species had experienced. Most powerful civilizations used their strength to dominate weaker neighbors. Humans used their strength to protect and help others. Ambassador So Min received an urgent communication from Earth's Department of Foreign Affairs. The message was brief but significant. Additional species requesting protection. Prepare for expanded operations. The Volani victory had demonstrated that humans could and would protect innocent people from aggressors. Now, every peaceful species in the galaxy wanted similar protection. Admiral Tae-ho finally managed to establish communication with Admiral Ha-Nul for their scheduled briefing. The conversation would be recorded and studied by military analysts throughout the galaxy. Admiral Ha-Nul, the Council needs to understand the scope of human military capabilities, Tae-ho began. What specifically do you want to know? Ha-Nul replied. How many ships does Earth possess? Enough. Could you be more specific? Enough to protect our allies and deter aggression against innocent people. The exact number depends on how many aggressors exist. Tae-ho realized he wasn't going to get specific numbers, but the implication was clear. Humanity possessed whatever level of military force was necessary to accomplish their goals. Admiral, some council members are concerned about human intentions. Your military capabilities are unprecedented. Our intentions are simple, Ha-Nul replied. We want to live in peace with our neighbors, but we will not allow bullies to harm innocent people. And if the Council disagrees with your actions? Ha-Nul paused before answering. The Council is welcome to disagree. But if you're not going to protect innocent people, don't try to stop those who will. The conversation ended, leaving Admiral Tae-ho with a clear understanding of the new galactic reality. Humanity had emerged as the dominant military power in known space. They preferred diplomacy and cooperation, but they would use force when necessary to protect the innocent. The age of unchecked aggression was over. Predator species could no longer attack peaceful worlds with impunity. Earth had revealed itself as the ultimate apex predator, and it was now actively hunting those who threatened its allies. The galaxy would never be the same. 6 months after the Volani rescue, Ambassador So Min stood before the full assembly of the Galactic Council. The Great Chamber was packed with representatives from every known species, all waiting to hear humanity's formal declaration of their role in galactic affairs. Honored delegates, So Min began, her voice carrying clearly through the translation systems. Earth wishes to address certain misconceptions about human capabilities and intentions. Admiral Tae-ho sat in the front row, still struggling to understand how completely human emergence had changed galactic politics. In half a year, 12 species had requested human protection, 3 aggressive empires had ceased expansion activities, and trade routes throughout the galaxy had become safer than they had been in centuries. First, regarding human military capabilities, So Min continued, the fleet that assisted the Volani Republic represents approximately 8% of Earth's total naval forces. Shocked whispers filled the chamber. If 300 ships was only 8%, then humanity possessed nearly 4,000 warships. No species in galactic history had ever maintained such a massive military force. Second, regarding human industrial capacity, Earth currently operates 47 major shipyards with the ability to produce 1,200 new vessels per year. These facilities can be expanded if circumstances require it. The numbers were staggering. Most species built maybe 10 or 20 ships per year. Humanity could produce more warships in a month than most civilizations built in a decade. A representative from the Althari Federation stood up nervously. Ambassador So-Min, surely Earth cannot maintain such massive forces indefinitely. The economic cost must be enormous. So-Min smiled slightly. Delegate Tarhani, Earth's economy is based on the resources of an entire solar system. We mine asteroids, harvest energy from our star, and utilize the full productive capacity of multiple planets. Military spending represents less than 5% of our total economic output. The revelation hit the chamber like a physical blow. Humanity had not just hidden their military power, they had concealed the true scope of their technological and economic development. Earth was not a struggling newcomer to space travel. They were a mature interstellar civilization that had been quietly building power for decades. On the newly constructed human naval base in Villani Space, Captain Wu Jin reviewed status reports from patrol groups throughout the sector. The Korth threat had been completely eliminated, but new challenges were emerging. Captain, we're receiving distress calls from the Zalani colonies, his communications officer reported. Pirate raids are increasing along their trade routes. Deploy Patrol Group 7 to investigate, Wu Jin ordered. Rules of engagement are to eliminate any threats to civilian shipping. Sir, the pirates aren't part of any military force. Should we really engage civilian criminals? Wu Jin looked at his young officer seriously. Pirates who attack innocent traders are not civilians. They're predators. We eliminate predators. This was the new reality of galactic security. Human forces did not distinguish between military threats and criminal ones. Anyone who harmed innocent people would face the full fury of human military doctrine. Meanwhile, in the heart of former Korth space, a fundamental transformation was taking place. The surviving Korth leadership had gathered on their homeworld to address the complete collapse of their empire. War Chief Vextar, recently released from human captivity, stood before the Korth High Council. His time as a prisoner had changed him profoundly. He had seen how humans treated defeated enemies with dignity and respect. He had watched human doctors save Korth lives without expecting anything in return. High Command, our military expansion, must end, he declared firmly. The humans have shown us a better way to exist in the galaxy. Weakness, snarled the High Commander. The Korth are warriors. We do not surrender to anyone. The humans are greater warriors than we ever were, Vextar replied calmly. They defeated our entire invasion fleet in 3 hours, but more importantly, they showed mercy to the defeated. They treated our wounded. They protected innocent civilians, even while destroying our military forces. You have been corrupted by their propaganda. I have been educated by their example. High Commander, we have a choice. We can continue our aggressive expansion and face total destruction, or we can learn from our defeat and build a better future for our people. The debate raged for hours, but the outcome was inevitable. The Korth military had been shattered. Their expansion plans were in ruins, and everyone knew that continued aggression would bring human fleets to their home world. Dr. Young-hee's medical facilities had expanded throughout the former conflict zone. Her hospitals now served patients from dozens of species, providing advanced medical care while training local doctors in human techniques. Doctor, we've received a request from the Korth homeworld, her assistant reported. They're asking for help with a plague outbreak. Prepare a medical mission immediately, Young He ordered without hesitation. Ma'am, these are the same people who attacked the Villani colonies. They're sick people who need help. That's all. That matters now. This was the human approach to post-conflict relations. Former enemies were treated as potential allies once they ceased their aggressive behavior. Healing replaced hatred. Cooperation replaced conquest. Engineer Su Jin had established technical exchange programs with 17 species, sharing human technology in exchange for scientific knowledge. The programs were revolutionizing galactic understanding of engineering and physics. Chief Engineer, the Althari want to know if we'll share our shield technology, her aide reported. Of course, but make sure they understand the maintenance requirements. Human equipment is built for durability, not convenience. The technology sharing was not charity. Humans genuinely wanted to learn from other species while helping them improve their own capabilities. This collaborative approach was creating stronger alliances than any military treaty could achieve. Admiral Hanul received her newest assignment from Earth Command: establish human naval bases in 6 additional sectors to provide security for trade routes and peaceful colonies. The expansion of human presence was accelerating as more species requested protection. Admiral, we'll need at least 2,000 additional ships to properly secure all these regions, her aide calculated. Signal Earth Command. Request authorization for full fleet expansion. Also, ask about recruiting allied species for joint patrol duties. Recruiting aliens into human naval forces? Why not? If they're willing to fight alongside us to protect innocent people, they're welcome in our fleets. This inclusive approach to military cooperation was another innovation that surprised galactic observers. Most species maintained purely ethnic military forces. Humans welcomed anyone who shared their values and commitment to protecting others. Ambassador So-Min concluded her address to the Galactic Council with words that would be remembered for generations. Earth seeks no territory, demands no tribute, and claims no special authority over other species. We ask only that the strong protect the weak, that the wealthy help the poor, and that all civilized beings work together to build a galaxy where innocent people can live in peace. She paused, looking around the chamber at representatives from hundreds of worlds. For those who share these values, Earth offers friendship, protection, and cooperation. For those who threaten innocent people, Earth offers only one choice: stop or be stopped. The message was clear and simple. Humanity had emerged as the dominant force in galactic affairs, but they used that dominance to protect others rather than to dominate them. Admiral Taeho stood up slowly as So-Min finished speaking. His voice carried the weight of history as he made his announcement. The Galactic Council formally recognizes Earth as a major galactic power and welcomes humanity's commitment to peace and security. We invite Earth to take a permanent seat on the Council Security Committee. The chamber erupted in applause. Representatives from peaceful species cheered, while delegates from aggressive empires sat in stunned silence. Captain Wu Jin received the news while on patrol near the Villani border. His crew celebrated quietly on the bridge as they watched human and allied ships working together to maintain security throughout the sector. "Sir, incoming message from a Korth patrol vessel," his communications officer reported. "They're requesting permission to join our anti-piracy operations." Wu Jin smiled. "Grant their request. Former enemies can become valuable allies." The transformation was complete. Humanity had revealed itself as the galaxy's apex predator, but Instead of using that power to conquer and dominate, they used it to protect and nurture. The strong defended the weak. The advanced helped the primitive. The wealthy shared with the poor. War Chief Vextar, now serving as a liaison between human and Korth forces, watched mixed species patrol groups work together to eliminate criminal threats. His people were learning to channel their warrior instincts toward protection rather than conquest. "Commander Vextar, Human Patrol 7 needs assistance with a pirate stronghold," reported his communications officer. "Deploy Squadrons 3 and 4 to assist them," Vextar ordered. "And remind our pilots that humans value precision over aggression."